we're kind of erasing our ancestry right off of our faces. One of the boys told me I had black person lips. Actually, imagine my shock when now, at 38 years old, the things that I have been embarrassed about or hated about myself are now what everybody wants to have. Now every girl is expected to have Caucasian blue eyes, full Spanish lips, a classic button nose, hairless Asian skin with a California tan, a Jamaican dance hall rear, long Swedish legs, small Japanese feet. You know Instagram face when you see it. Hi, I'm Danielle Romero. Thank you so much for being with me here on my channel where we talk about American identity and family stories. And today we're going to get a little personal. I want to talk about Instagram face, although I think you could arguably call it TikTok face or just social media face, which is a concept that has been highlighted and talked about here and there, but I want to kind of put my own spin on it. And this trend encapsulates a specific beauty ideal that really seems to pull from diverse ethnic features into this one perfect but perfectly impossible face. And before I get to the details on that, I want to show you some pictures from when I was in 8th grade, and they're really bad. They're terribly awkward. And I'll put them up on the screen. This is from my 8th grade graduation. And then this was like, I had some friends over after. And here's a really terrible one. Me and my dad. The shirt says boys lie. And I thought that was really tough for having it. Sound like literally a Polaroid. I went to a brand new school in 8th grade, which is already like a super traumatic time to be starting over. I want to just kind of talk about what has changed before we get to what is now considered like the beauty standard. So I heard a lot of comments about how I looked. And growing up, if you've been on my channel, you know, I saw myself as Italian American from New York, which I was and I am. But I also have really diverse ancestry from both sides of the family that I didn't know about. But a lot of times people can see that stuff in you, even when you can't see it. And one of the things that happened was one of the boys told me I had black person lips. Actually, a couple of the boys did. And so that has stuck with me. I mean, 8th grade, I was turning 13 years old. Like I said, I'm 38 years old. I was also really self-conscious because I didn't have like the heroin chic build that was so popular in the early 2000s, which was, you know, the girls were really slender and built like a straight line. And no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't get that figure. And so there were comments made about that. And, you know, it's not like I was like harassed or anything, but these are things that just kind of stayed with me. And so imagine my shock when now, at 38 years old, maybe even a couple years previously, the things that I have been embarrassed about or struggled with or hated about myself are now what everybody wants to have. People are going and getting these full lips and getting lip injections, some of them looking so ridiculous. It's unbelievable. Girls are getting BBLs to have a little bit more happening back here. And I'm like, where was this trend when I was brand new in 8th grade? I want to talk just about how just strange the Instagram face really is. I'm going to call it Instagram face, but honestly, it could be TikTok face, social media face. And to be clear, I have never even used a filter on my face on any pictures or anything because honestly, I'm afraid to use it and then start to hate the reflection I see in the mirror. So I personally don't use that. So I have just kind of had to do a no tolerance policy for me. So let's talk about what the Instagram face looks like. The eyebrows and the eyes, borrowing these thick eyebrows is kind of like a South Asian beauty standard that we see pulled from over here. Then the lips, we have these full prominent lips that are often associated with being African-American heritage. The nose in Instagram face is commonly idealized as like a more narrow Caucasian nose. The cheek structure, almost always we see high sculpted cheekbones, which those can, you know, people like to say that's a Native American phenotype. But I mean, I've seen Slavic people can have very high cheekbones and things like that. And the skin tone is usually ethnically ambiguous tan, which suggests a blend of multiracial backgrounds. So you have these girls where, you know, you see what they looked like 10 years ago on Instagram. And trust me, I went down the rabbit hole. And then today, I'm like, you switched ethnicities. Like, you completely switched ethnicities here. And I think this is a referendum on our country, our world. And I think there is some good here. The good is, it reminds me of, I think maybe it was a 1993 magazine cover. It was basically like, is this the new America? It was an amalgamation of, different faces and kind of saying, America is going to continue to be more and more mixed, multi-generational mixed. And what will the new American face look like? This was 31 years ago. I think there is some good here when we're talking about this Instagram face. I think it's kind of embracing the multi-generational mixed story that maybe a lot of Americans have and will continue to have. But the problem is that these beauty standards add to this overwhelming list of attributes that women are expected to embody to be considered beautiful. And sometimes it just flies in the face of what you have. Now, back in 8th grade, I was really self-conscious about my lips, but someone today might be feeling self-conscious because their lips aren't full and they feel like they have this pressure of, I have to get my lips injected. I have to stick a needle in my face and put something in my face to be beautiful. Tina Fey is a really hilarious comedian, and she had commented on this a long time ago, and I want to read her comment in full. I might have to edit part of it out just so I don't get in trouble, but I want to read it too. She said, "Now every girl is expected to have Caucasian blue eyes, full Spanish lips, a classic button nose, hairless Asian skin with a California tan, a Jamaican dance hall rear, long Swedish legs, small Japanese feet. But the person closest to actually achieving this look," she says, "is Kim Kardashian, who, as we know, was made by Russian scientists to sabotage our athletes." And I think this is really funny because it does feel like a laundry list of traits from basically every continent, every ethnic background, creating this almost unattainable goal. Is this quest for beauty a celebration of diversity or a symptom of cultural confusion? I think we need to consider whether or not, girls using filters and plastic surgery and all of these things, is this genuinely appreciating diversity, or is this just a superficial grab at what is trending right now? I mean, I've been around the block a couple times now, and to me, that's how I see this. I don't see this as like, oh, now women with this body type are going to be forever celebrated and praised, or if you have these lips or these shaped eyes, like now you've made it. No, you have your time in the limelight, and then it's going to be like, we're moving on. And I think the real problem is when it's your body's not a trend. It's not, it's your body. And, I think what the weird thing is about Instagram face, you think, well, it's kind of cool because now we have girls either trying to have or embracing very diverse faces. It's actually created just the same face. Like literally, Instagram face when you see it. That face. It looks like a kind of scary Halloween mask, and it's just a lot. It's a lot when you see it. It feels like it's erasing our beautiful diversity. It's erasing the things that make us who we are. We're kind of erasing our ancestry right off of our faces. This has the potential to quietly wipe away the unique stories of our heritage, the narratives that are embedded in our very DNA. It's like erasing bits of our personal history books, page by page, until the stories that were once there kind of just resemble everybody else's. But let's not forget, our features do carry our history. And I'll say it again, our features carry our history. I did a video on my hair if you want to check that out, kind of wrestling with that. Our features carry our lineage, they carry our legacy. And so when we stand in front of the mirror or when we swipe through filters, let's remember it's the culmination of generations. So maybe it's time to ask ourselves, are we preserving who we are, our family story, or are we letting a trend dictate that? As I said, let's cherish our individuality, honor our ancestors, not just by remembering their stories, but by proudly bearing the features they gave us. Let me know what you think, and we'll talk soon.